Ever feel drained at the end of the day? Look at your arms and legs and notice they seem thinner, weaker? Have you tried working out, hitting the gym, going for walks, but it feels like your body just isn't responding like it used to? And at night when you lie in bed, that nagging thought creeps in, that you're losing your independence, that one day you might need help with the simplest things, like getting out of a chair or carrying a bag of groceries. You feel like you're in a race against time, that your body is giving up on you, and no matter how hard you try, it feels like a losing battle. What if I told you there's a fruit, a common fruit you've probably seen at the supermarket, but never imagined could be the key to rebuilding your muscles while you sleep, while your body rests? It sounds too good to be true, I know, but stick with me because what you're about to discover today could completely change your muscle recovery journey. Recent research published in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism has revealed something absolutely revolutionary that's making the scientific community completely rethink how we approach muscle loss. They discovered that there is a natural compound present in a specific fruit that can activate the process of muscle protein synthesis during sleep, precisely when your body should be in recovery and rebuilding mode. We're talking about a mechanism that works completely differently from anything you've ever heard about muscle gain. And before you think this is just another empty online promise, I need to tell you that I'm a physician specializing in metabolism and healthy aging. I've spent over 15 years helping people over 50 regain their strength, their vitality, their independence. I've seen hundreds of patients who felt they were at rock bottom, thinking they'd never have the strength they had in their youth again, and they achieved results they themselves didn't believe were possible. If you're watching this video, it's because you want to reclaim your strength, your independence, your quality of life, and I'm here to show you that it's absolutely possible. I created this channel for people like you who refuse to accept that losing muscle and becoming weak is a normal part of aging, who want to age with health, with autonomy, with dignity. Every week, I bring you information based on the latest research on how to gain muscle mass even after 50, 60, 70 years old. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, because together we're going to get your strength and your life back. You deserve to age strong and independent. Now, before I reveal what this miracle fruit is, I need to tell you the story of a patient who completely changed my perspective on sarcopenia and muscle loss. His name is Roberto, 68 years old. A retired grandfather with 4 grandkids, he loved more than anything in the world. Roberto came to my office on a Thursday afternoon, and I'll never forget the look on his face. It was a mixture of shame, fear, and desperation. He told me that for 3 years he'd been noticing he was losing strength, that his legs were getting thinner, that he had trouble climbing stairs, that he'd trip easily. But what really broke him was when, on a Sunday afternoon, he was playing with his youngest grandson in the backyard and simply couldn't lift the boy into his arms. That shattered him inside. Roberto looked at me with tears in his eyes and said something I'll never forget. He said he felt like he was becoming a burden to his family, that he was afraid of falling one day and not being able to get up on his own, that he didn't want to end his days dependent on others. I took his hand and told him we were going to change that story, that he was going to regain his strength and his dignity. We did all the tests, and the diagnosis was clear: advanced sarcopenia. Roberto had lost nearly 30% of his muscle mass in the last 5 years. But what was more frightening wasn't just the amount of muscle he'd lost, it was the speed at which it was happening. And when I started investigating his lifestyle more deeply, I discovered something that's extremely common, and that you might also be doing, without realizing you're sabotaging your muscles. Roberto barely consumed enough protein. He thought that at his age, he didn't need to worry about it, and worse, he had no idea that there are specific times of day when our body is much more receptive to building muscle. And one of those times is precisely during sleep. Now I need to ask you a very important question, and I want you to answer honestly, because your answer can inspire and help thousands of people watching us right now. When you realized you were losing strength, that your legs were getting thinner, that you couldn't do the things you used to do, what was the feeling that took over you? Was it the fear of becoming dependent? Was it the sadness of seeing your body change? Was it the anger of feeling yourself getting older? I know it's painful to admit these things, but you're not alone here. So comment below. You can use these words if you like. I'm losing muscle and I want to regain my strength. Don't be ashamed, because sarcopenia isn't vanity. It's not laziness. It's a real condition that affects millions of people. And when you comment, you create a support network. You show other people that they're not alone in this struggle. Comment now. I read them all, and your journey matters. Let's understand the science behind all of this, because when you understand what's happening in your body, you empower yourself to make the right choices. When we sleep, our body enters a state called nocturnal anabolism, which is when the main processes of tissue repair and reconstruction happen. During this period, especially in the first 4 hours of deep sleep, our body releases growth hormone, testosterone, and other compounds essential for muscle protein synthesis. But here's the problem. After 50, this natural capacity of the body diminishes drastically. It's like the switch that turns on the muscle-building machine starts to fail. And this happens because of a phenomenon called anabolic resistance, which basically means your muscles become less sensitive to the signals telling them to grow and get stronger. But there's more. During sleep, especially between 2 and 4 a.m., our bodies have been fasting for hours. If you haven't provided the right nutrients before bed, what happens is something called muscle catabolism. Your body starts breaking down its own muscle proteins to use as energy. It's literally like burning your own house down for heat. And the older you get, the more aggressive this process becomes. That's why many people wake up feeling weak, tired, and lose muscle month after month without understanding why. Now for the fascinating part, there's a fruit, and I'll reveal which one shortly, that contains a specific amino acid in very high concentrations. An amino acid called leucine. Leucine is considered the master trigger for muscle protein synthesis because it activates a metabolic pathway called mTOR, which is basically the on switch for muscle growth. But that's not all. This fruit also contains other bioactive compounds that enhance protein absorption, reduce muscle inflammation, and improve the quality of deep sleep, which is precisely when muscle rebuilding magic happens. Let me tell you what happened with Maria Clara, 63 years old, a retired teacher. She came to me completely desperate. She'd tried everything, the gym, physical therapy, expensive supplements, but she kept losing muscle mass and gaining abdominal fat. She told me she felt ashamed to look in the mirror, that she no longer recognized her own body. When I looked at her test results, I saw that Maria Clara had a concerning body composition, high visceral fat and very low muscle mass, a combination doctors call sarcopenic obesity, one of the worst metabolic conditions out there. She also had insulin resistance, prediabetes, and chronic inflammation. But what struck me most was that Maria Clara ate very little protein throughout the day and practically nothing before bed. I implemented a specific protocol with her, which included this miracle fruit consumed strategically before bed, along with a high-quality protein source. And the results were astounding. In just 8 weeks, Maria Clara had gained 5.5 pounds of muscle mass, lost 9 pounds of fat, and most importantly, she told me she woke up with more energy, could climb stairs without getting winded, and started playing with her grandkids again without feeling weak. She cried in my office and told me she felt like she'd gotten her life back. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for. The fruit that can rebuild your muscles while you sleep is the kiwi. Yes, you heard right, the kiwi. And before you get disappointed thinking it's something too simple, let me explain why kiwi is a powerful weapon against sarcopenia. Kiwi contains one of the highest concentrations of leucine among all fruits. Plus, it's incredibly rich in vitamin C, which is essential for collagen synthesis and muscle tissue health. But the real game changer is a compound called actinidin, a natural enzyme present in kiwi that drastically improves protein digestion and absorption. Studies have shown that consuming kiwi with a protein source before bed increases amino acid bioavailability by up to 40%. That means your muscles can absorb and utilize much more of the nutrients you're providing. And there's more. Kiwi contains natural serotonin and antioxidants that improve deep sleep quality, precisely the stage where there's the greatest release of growth hormone and the highest rate of muscle protein synthesis. It's like kiwi prepares your body to make the most of those precious sleep hours to rebuild and strengthen your muscles. But you can't just eat kiwi any old way. There's a specific protocol that works, and that's what I'm going to teach you now. First, timing is crucial. You should consume the kiwi between 30 minutes to an hour before bed. Second, you need to combine the kiwi with a slow-digesting protein source, like cottage cheese, plain unsweetened Greek yogurt, or casein powder. The ideal amount is 2 medium kiwis, along with approximately 20 to 30 grams of protein. Third, it's essential that you're doing some form of resistance training, even if it's light, at least 3 times a week, because muscles need stimulus to grow. Now many people ask me, but doctor, does the kiwi alone fix it? And the honest answer is no. Kiwi is a powerful tool within a larger strategy. You need to consume enough protein throughout the day, at least 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, spread across 4 to 5 meals. You need to train with some resistance. It can be weightlifting, resistance bands, body weight exercises, but you need that stimulus. You need to sleep well, at least 7 to 8 hours a night. You need to manage chronic inflammation by avoiding ultra-processed foods, excess sugar, and trans fats. And you need to check your vitamin D levels, because vitamin D deficiency is directly linked to sarcopenia and muscle weakness. Let me tell you about Antonio, 72 years old, a former construction worker. When Antonio came to me, he could barely walk half a block without stopping to rest. His legs would tremble if he stood for more than 5 minutes. He was afraid of falling, afraid of breaking a bone, afraid of losing his independence. Antonio was a tough guy. He'd worked his whole life with his own hands, and seeing his body waste away like that was devastating. We implemented the full protocol, including the kiwi with protein before bed, adapted resistance training, increased protein intake, and supplementation with vitamin D and creatine. 6 months later, Antonio had regained 11 pounds of muscle mass, could do squats with weight, walked 4 miles a day, and told me he never feared falling again. He was alive again. But I need to be honest with you. There are people who won't respond as well to this protocol, and they're usually those who have severe anabolic resistance, untreated major hormonal deficiencies, uncontrolled chronic inflammation, or conditions like advanced kidney or liver failure. For these individuals, kiwi alone won't be a miracle cure. It requires a more complex medical approach, which might include hormone replacement therapy, specific medications, and multidisciplinary care. That's why it's so important to find a doctor who truly understands metabolism and aging, not a professional who will simply tell you that losing muscle is a normal part of getting older and you just have to accept it. Another very common question is about supplements. Can I take whey protein instead of cottage cheese? Yes, you absolutely can. In fact, whey protein or casein powder are excellent options. Casein is even better because it's a slow-digesting protein. It releases amino acids gradually throughout the night, feeding your muscles while you sleep. And regarding creatine, I always recommend it because creatine is one of the most studied and proven supplements for muscle gain, strength, and improved physical function, especially for people over 60. The ideal dose is 3 to 5 grams daily, every day. You don't need those loading phases they used to talk about. And there's something very important I need to warn you about. Some people think that because they're following this kiwi protocol, they can slack off on their diet during the day. That's a huge mistake. If you keep eating junk food, sugar, ultra-processed foods, fried foods, and soda, you're sabotaging all your efforts. Chronic inflammation caused by a bad diet will completely block your ability to gain muscle, no matter how much kiwi you eat. Your body needs real nutrients, real food, vegetables, quality protein, good fats, complex carbohydrates. Treat your body like the temple it is, because it's the only home you'll have to live in for the rest of your life. Now, let me give you a consolidated summary of everything you need to do starting today to begin rebuilding your muscles. First, consume 2 medium kiwis along with 20 to 30 grams of protein between 30 minutes to an hour before bed. Second, ensure you're getting at least 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight throughout the day, distributed across 4 to 5 meals. Third, train with resistance at least 3 times a week. You can start light, but you need progressive overload. Fourth, sleep well, 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night. Fifth, check your vitamin D levels and supplement if they're low. Sixth, consider supplementing with 3 to 5 grams of creatine daily. Seventh, eliminate as many inflammatory foods as possible from your diet. Eighth, be consistent. Results don't appear overnight, but if you do everything right, in 8 to 12 weeks, you'll notice a huge difference. If you have fatty liver along with muscle loss, a condition called sarcopenic obesity, this protocol is even more important for you. That's because the insulin resistance causing fat accumulation in your liver is also blocking protein synthesis in your muscles. So, you're in a situation where your body is accumulating fat where it shouldn't, and losing muscle where it needs it most. Kiwi not only helps with muscle building, but also improves insulin sensitivity due to its soluble fiber and antioxidants. It's a double benefit. And look, I know it might seem difficult. I know you've tried so many things and been disappointed so many times that you're afraid to believe again. But I'm asking you one thing. Give yourself a chance. Follow this protocol for 12 weeks consistently, without skipping, without getting discouraged, and then come back and tell me the results. Comment below with your age and if you've noticed a loss of strength. If you want to regain your muscle mass, give this video a like so I know this content is helping you. And share it with that family member who needs to hear this, with that friend who's suffering in silence, thinking there's no solution. You can be an instrument of transformation in the life of someone you love. Before I finish, I want to remind you of something very important. Aging is not synonymous with becoming weak, losing independence, or becoming a burden to others. Aging can and should be a process of wisdom, strength, and dignity. Your body has an incredible capacity to regenerate, to get stronger, even after 60, 70, or 80 years. I've seen patients over 80 gaining muscle mass, regaining strength, and living autonomously again. Science is on our side, nature is on our side, and now you have the knowledge you need to change your reality. In the next video, I'll show you the 5 biggest mistakes people make when trying to gain muscle after 50, mistakes that are completely sabotaging your results, even when you think you're doing everything right. You won't want to miss this video because you're probably making one of these mistakes right now without even knowing it. So, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you soon. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're in this together, and together we will reclaim your strength, your health, and your life.